Hello friends, welcome back to Code Academy channel. This video is going to be a short quick through on Blazor WebAssembly e-commerce project. We started this already and we have lesson 1, lesson 2 and this is lesson 3. I think it is going to be the end, okay? But actually, Blazor e-commerce is a lot. I'm not sure we're able to finish everything, but actually with the 1, 2, 3 videos that we have, we've able to cover almost the essential part. So let's see, maybe after this video, the one that we are missing, we can just put at the comment section and let's see maybe if we can update the next video and now include that feature in it. But for now, in the previous video we had a look at creating a product service and a category service, and but we couldn't able to learn the category, so that's what we're going to do today. Now with the product service, you can see we call an API, that's the product, and that's what you see the whole product here. If you go to the inspect element, that's the developer tool F12. Under the network tab, if you refresh it, you can see we have a product API code. Now this product API code contains a list of products here, and that is a list of products that you can see. And we also have a category API also called, and that is, you can see we have also a list of categories that we have. Currently we have only 2 categories, computers and bags. These are APIs that we make a call to. But what we couldn't do here is to click on this buttons here or this category here to navigate and get you the selected product. That is what we are doing today. And also we try to add carts. So as you can see, there is a cart that you can see, and we have the carts that have been added to my cart. These are the products I have added: quantity, price, subtotal. You can see we have these are the action if I want to delete or edit it. Now if I want to delete, as soon as I click on it, asks me, are you sure you want to delete this? So okay, delete. As soon as it's confirmed, you can see it is off. If I want to update this as well, this is 2. Now just click on this, then I can make it as 4. Now update it, product update done. Now go to my cart, and I can see it is currently 4. Okay, that's 4 here. So that is it, what we're going to talk about today. And you can see we have a grand total, and here we have proceed to checkout. But currently if I click this, we haven't added a swap account yet. We haven't linked a payment system yet. Maybe a payment system is going to be another video altogether. Okay, and if you want to talk about, let's move on for now. Let's move on. So we go to project. Now the first thing that we are going to do here is we are going to create a service for get product by category. So we go to the server project. So let me hide this. Now the server project, you can see we have iProduct repository. We are going to add another repository interface here known as get product by category. So get product by category, and that's the name that we give it to this service or this interface. And now here we pass in a string of URL. Now you go to the implementation class, that is the product service, and now here let's see what you can do. So with the get product by category, that is what we do. Let me minimize all this. Okay, so that's get product by category. We pass in the URL. Now we create an object for the service response. We pass in the product as an object, or the model, or as a t value. Now this, we are getting a product where category.url is equal to what this URL that is coming in. Then we convert the URL coming in to lowercase, and also we replace it, all spaces, replace them with this dash. Now from the previous one, you can see when creating the category, we created a column known as URL. So when we check on the shared project category, you can see we have URL here. So that's the column here. Now when you go to the category controller or category repo, that is this here. So under add category, let's see what happens. So that's the add category. Now you can see we say that new category URL is equal to the name to lowercase. Then we replace all spaces with underscore. So we are now making a comparison to check if the URL that is being passed in from the category or from the product is equal to this. But before we check with this URL, you must also do the same thing to it. So you convert it to lowercase and replace all spaces with dash so we can check. Okay, so that's exactly what we are doing in the implementation here. So we do that, then if product is not null, we set the response to this product. Then at the end of the day, we return the response. If not, then we set up these responses to display to the user. Now, before we're able to achieve this, we have to first add a relationship. Now, the type of relationship that you're going to add here is going to be one-to-many or many-to-one. I've actually done a video on the relationship, all the three types of relationship, that is one-to-many, one-to-one, many-to-one, or we have many-to-many. So we have one-to-one, one-to-many, or many-to-one. Okay, they are together. And we have many-to-many. These are the three types of relationship that we can implement in Blazor WebAssembly. And I have a video done on them, so you can just check the description, or you can just check the playlist and you're going to find it over there. But that's the EF core relationship. Also, so here we want to implement one-to-many or many-to-one. Now you can see we have one category can have many products. So one category is going to have many products. One category is going to have what? Many products. So that is one-to-many. And that's a way to establish the relationship. And now when you go to the product, so this what? So many products here is going to have one category. So many-to-one. So if you're reading from category side, it is one-to-many. And if you're reading from the product side, it is many-to-one. Many products is going to have what? One category. Many-to-one. Okay. So we just add this. Then what you have to do here is you have to perform database migration. So we add migration, then update, or you can give it a name as create relationship. Okay, so when you run this, after that, then you update database. So you update database like this, update database. Now if you also run this, when you are done, go in there and check the category or the product column. The product column is going to see, you're going to see another field. That is what we specified here. So if you check the category side, this is a category model. Now let's see. Okay, so this is the category side. Now you can see if you actually check the model first, this is the model. Now the model has what? Category ID, we have name, URL, image, right? And you can see we have a list of product. Check the product and see. Now when you check the product, you can see that from here we have category for the relationship and we have category ID. Now this is a default value that is set to 2. Now if you check here, you have category ID added here. Okay, so this means that any product that you add, you have to add a category ID. So when you update it, you're going to have this column added and you have to pass in this. So this is a relationship. Now this category ID here is a foreign key. Now what is foreign key? A foreign key is a primary key of another table which is found in this table. So any key here which is a primary key of another table is known as a foreign key. Now this category ID, when we go to the category table, it is a primary key. So let's see. Now category table over here, right click on this, view data, and let's wait. So you can see there is the ID 1 and 2. So this is the primary key here. We have computer and the URL here is what? Lowercase in computer. Now we are not having any space, that's why we are not having the dash. Bags, you can see bags. So this is what we are comparing. Now when you get this product, this ID, it means we have connection to the whole category table. Now you check ID 1, you can get the name, you can get the URL, and that is exactly what we are doing here. So when you go to the product repo, here you can see that we check and you can check if the URL of that product ID or the category ID that is passing in, or the URL is equal to what is passing in here. Now if that, then return the response and return the list, we assign it to this response model. Okay. Now once you have this, when we try this in the, let's see, so let's try this in, let me copy this here, and with this let's paste this here. Let's use Swagger UI to check. Now with this Swagger, you can see we have the product here. You can see we have the API, product, and category. Before we're able to do this, we have to create a method in the controller. So we go to the controller, that is the product controller, and the last end, you can see we have HTTP get, because it's a get method. There is a route category, and now we are passing in a variable here as URL because it's a string. You know, the repo has to get a string URL, so we pass in URL here, and that's the same thing that we are using. And we are returning a service model with a t value of product. So return OK. We call this service repo, that's the product repo, dot this method. Then we pass in the string that's going to pass in as a parameter from the API. Okay, so that's exactly what we do here. You can see we have the category and we have the URL. So this URL here, you have to provide the value for. Now try this out, and let's see. So if I pass in bags and execute it, you can see the response I have, these are all bags. Now if I pass in computers, even let's see capitals computers, it's going to convert this to lowercase. You're going to have a list of computers. And if I pass in lowercase as computers too, it's still going to get the same thing. So because we have HP laptop, these are computers. So this means that our API is actually working. Now what we have to do here is we have to create a service to render this. So let's go to the project, and now we have to work on the client side. So we open the client side. Now as you can see from here, a service folder, we open it, and we're going to create another service, a service interface. So under iProduct service, we encapsulate what we have already. So get product by category, we're still passing the URL. Now under the implementation here, product service, that is what we do. Now you can see this receiving a string, so we are calling get async, then we call the API, product, and the category. This is the route. So API here, when you check the controller, you see the API there, the name of the controller is in the product, and now the route is category, and this is the value or the parameter. Okay, and here we are reading. Now the reason why we did not use get from JSON async is, you know, get from JSON async, when you use it you can also read, but if you use the get async, you have an advanced way to read everything in it. Okay, so that's what we are using, this get async, then return it. So while the service is being created, let's go to first our nav menu under shared project. So you can see with the nav menu, that is where we rendered the category listed. As you can see from here, this you see, we rendered that over here. So when we check, you see that's where we are rendering it. Now we are saying that the href, each of these should have a link, and that link, the value that I want to pass in is a URL. So that is why as soon as I click on this, I have the URL indicated here. Okay, so that's the URL. And remember that the URL is in lowercase, and we are replacing all spaces with what? Dash. So if I click on it, what should happen? So it is going to render that nav side. Now this, if I click on this, I'm going back to local, that's the home, or the, you see here we didn't pass in any component name, so it means it is navigating to default value, that is the home. Now the home here is what we set to the product.razor. So product.razor, you see it is home, this is the home side. Okay, so this is the index. Now we have to get a value to hold the URL or the string coming in. So we create another route, and here we can store, or we are accepting URL as string. So once you are done with this, you have to create this, you have to set this as parameter. So we go down here and we create a parameter as URL as a string. We initialize it here, and that is it. So when you pass, or when you click on any of these, you will see the URL here is going to this product, and now we accept it and store. Now when we store, we can use a page cycle method known as the parameter set. So how do you get on this parameter set? You can just type in override then space. So override and space, and you're going to have a list of the page cycle method. So you're going to have it over here. So you see we have on parameter set, and that's what we are using here. So just choose that, and now when it is set, we first check if URL is not equal to null, then we call this service model product service and call this method and passing this URL that we have stored here. But in case URL is null, then we call the get product method, as we know from the initialize async or when the page loads. Okay, so that's exactly what we are doing. It's a very simple thing that we are doing. Now we store the output as this service model, and you know this service model contains a list of products, and that's what we look through to set individual values or individual text here. Very simple for the product. So that's what we did for the product. And when you click on this, so when you run this and now you click on this, computer going to get it. Let's run it and see. So if I save this, it's going to be refreshed here. Then as you can see, it is saved now, so it's going to be refreshed here. Then we can run this over here and see. So it is now loaded, and as you can see from here, this computer here, if I click on this computer, I have this. Now if I right click and go to inspect element, now with the network tab, let's see, now click this and I click on bugs. So you can see a bugs is called, so a service for bug is called. Now when you check the header, you can see we have the API, that is the controller name is product, and you can see we have category, that is a route, and we have the parameter as bugs. And when you go to the preview, you can see we have the list, and that is the list related to bug category. Now if I click on product, you can see I have product service code, that's the computer service code. Check the API, and you can see we have the category, that's a route, and you can see we have the parameter here. And preview, you have the list of computers. So that is the concept. Now you can add a lot of categories here. From this side, you can add categories. One more, so let's try to see. So maybe you can add tables. So you can add tables and what, chairs. Okay, so let's see, or we can say tables and chair and etc. So tables and chair, table and chair. Yes, you can just go in there and choose an image for it. So let's see, you have table and chairs. You can maybe choose any of these to get it saved. Okay, now let's create category and see. So if I click on this, category has been created. Now if I refresh this, now you can see that I'm going to see the category being added to this list. So that's the category. Now if I click on this, you can see that here I have table and dash and what, chair. Now if I go to inspect element, a table and chair service has been called, but the value there is going to be null because there's no product related to table and chair. Now if I click on it again, let's check. So I'll first click on computers. Now let me click on table and chair. Now watch the table and chair, and I can see the list is null because there's no related product. So that is it for getting product by category. Okay, now the next thing that I want to talk about here is adding product to cart. Now when you come home here, you can see we have a lot of products here. If I click on this, now I can add to cart. If I want to add to cart, you must have a cart process. So what you're going to do here first is you're going to create a model, and that's going to hold the cart. Now you have to install, or as soon as I click on add to cart, I want all the products to store in the client browser's local storage. So later on, when the person wants to go to the cart view, I just go in there and then grab all the products stored there, get the information from the database, and I display it to the user. What I don't want to do here is I don't want to store the product information, name, price, quantity. No, I don't want to store that there. What I want to do here is I want to install only product ID and quantity. That's all. So that the client won't have any access to the product information to change the price and etc. No. Just have product ID and product and the quantity that the user you want to buy. So in doing that, you have to create a model, and that's known as my cart model. This. So we store product ID and user quantity. So let's go to the product details. Now product detail component is where user can add to cart. Now if you click on add to cart, you can see we have ID passed into this method. You call this method and you pass in an ID. Now this ID, the definition is here. Now this is an ID. We accept the product ID here. We have a message set. Now we check if the quantity is greater or equal to 1. And if the quantity is not more than what we have in database quantity, it means we are good to go. Else we display this error to the user. Now here we create a cart model, an object. Then we provide the product ID as this product ID coming in. User quantity as what? The quantity that is stored here. And that's what we are getting the value from this input tag. So when you click here, so if you pass the number here, that's what you're going to store there as a quantity. So if you click on add to cart, then this is what's going to happen. We are calling a service, a cart service. Then there's a method known as add to cart. We pass in this my cart model and it gets stored. Now let's see. So let's see how to create this cart service. So we go to Solution Explorer. Now under the client, this is what we are doing first. Now we create a cart services folder. We create Icard service, and you can see here we have add to cart. We pass in my cart model, and that's the object. Now when you go to the implementation, add to cart, we accept, let's see, so add to cart, we accept my cart model here, and now we first check the local storage. But before we can use this local storage, we have to first install this. This local storage that we are installing here was developed by Crescenti. So just go to Solution Explorer, Dependencies folder under the Client section, right click, and now go to Manage and add what? NuGet packages. And now under Search, type in the Blazor local storage. I have installed it already, so I have it under the Install section. Blazor local storage. Let's wait for to load. Then we're going to see. So there's a Blazor local storage. So by what? Crescenti. So click on the browse and now pass in this name and install. When we are done, go to program.cs file here under the same client project and now add Blazor local storage. Okay, so we add this, and now also we create a DI, that's a dependency injection for the Icard service and the cart service that we have created. Anytime you call this interface, it has to create an instance of this cart service, that's the implementation, and add it to this cart service. So the definition for this method in this cart service can be found in this implementation class. So they must move together. That's why you have to create dependency injection in them or between. Okay, so let's go back to the cart service. Now with the cart service, we pass on to the cart service. As you can see from here, we get the values from the database and we are getting it as a list of this my cart model. And this is the name of the model, this is the name of the item or the key that you want to set to the local storage my cart. We check if it is null, then we create new list of this cart model, and now we check if this my cart model it is not null. It means that the user actually added or selected a product. So we get an item from the cart to see if the item is already found. If the item is there already, then we are going to remove this and add it again and store it, and now we display product updated, because if the cart is the item is found there, it means the user want to update the quantity. Maybe at first the user chose 1, you want to choose maybe 5 by now, so you can update the quantity. Else if the item is not found, it means there's no such item in the cart, then we are going to add this. So we add it to the list of my cart, then we set item missing to the local storage, we display this to the user. And in order to display this, we are using the JS runtime. So we inject JS runtime here, so read only JS runtime, then we initialize it, we inject and initialize it over here, and that is what we are using here. Okay, so aside from that, that is what we are doing. Now if I run this, so you can see that here we have called that service under the product details. So if I click on add to cart, it's going to happen that, and it's going to work for us. Now let's see. So this is a product. Let's go to the cart and now let's delete what we have here. So I'm going to delete all. So I'll delete this. Okay, now when I'm done, this is what I want to do. Now I'm going to add a product again and see what happens. So home. Now I'm going to add this product. So product. So right click and go to inspect element, and now under local storage you can see we have under application, this is the local storage. So we have my cart here. Now let's clear that. So I'm going to add this first time. It is 1. Add to cart, product added to cart, and you can see it is here. This is the name of, this is the key, my cart, and this is the product. As you can see from here, this is the product ID and the user quantity. If I want to update this maybe to 8, now see what happens. Add to cart. Now see, so you can see the first one is removed and the second one is being updated. So you can see we have current user quantity as what, 8. So that's what we do. So you can add a lot of product here since we are storing it as a list, okay, or as an array. So you can add a lot of products here. The next thing to do here is to get the value or display the output, the count of a product that we have here. So to do that, the first thing that we have to do here is we go to the cart service, that is the Icard interface, and now we have to create an action event, and you have to broadcast the event, subscribe to the event, so we can update the component. So you create an event as unchanged, then we create an int count here to get a count for us. Okay, now when we are done, we create task. So this is add to task, so this is an add to cart. Now as soon as this is added, you want to call this event, you want to evoke this event. So let's see, now when you go to the implementation, we have the same event here. So that is a count, and you have what, the action as unchanged. Now to do that, just click on this service model, click on this light signal or the bulb signal here, or the symbol here, and I click on implement interface to get all this, as you can see from here. Now the next thing to do here is, you can see as soon as we added or we update the product, we get a count, and we get a count as the total number of products in local storage. We count it and store the answer to this count. Then we call this method as invoke. So when you invoke, it's like we've broadcasted this information across the whole application. Now which component is going to subscribe? When you subscribe, then you're going to get refresh. So let's see, now you broadcast it here. Now you go to the first, that is where we have this button. This button can be found in the main layout. So on top here, this is a bootstrap button that we use, and that is it. So here we are calling the cart service. We inject the cart service here, we call the cart service, and we check if the count is greater than 0, then we use this cart service count. If not, we are using this service count product. Now where from this service count product, let's see, it is over here. So we have int service count product. Now when the page loads, we want to get the list of items from the cart, and that's what we get it from here. Okay, so if the service count is equal to greater than 0, then we display that. But if not, check if the page loads, then we want to check if the product is 0 or the value of that, then we display it over here for us to see. Okay, so that's exactly what we do to get the total count in the product. Now as you can see that we have an onClick event here. Now if I click on this, the name is navigate to the cart. So we come down here, it is navigating to the cart, and the reason why we're able to use this here is because we've injected navigation manager. So check on top here, we inject navigation manager, and we create an object, and I can now use it here. So we have to create this method known as cart. So we go to pages, right click on this page, and I'll create a cart method. Now this cart method, the name is cart. Okay, we inject Icard service, we inject navigation manager, and we inject IJS runtime. This is just a bootstrap. We create a row, column, then we create a card. Now we search if the card is equal to null, then display this card is empty. But if it is not, then we want to set the header here as my card. Then we are creating a table. Now the table, this is table head. We have product image, ID, name, price, quantity, and subtotal. So where are we getting this from? We have to create a model that's going to hold all this data for us. So Solution Explorer, then we go to the DTO and we create a model known as cat model. So you can see that from here we create a cat model, another model here. So we have two models for the cat service. The first one is a my cat model, and that's what we're going to use to store, or we use to store the product ID and the user quantity in the local storage of the client's browser. The next one is a cat model, and this is a cat model that we're going to use to generate or populate the data from the database and display it in the cat. So you have product ID, name, image, price, quantity, and subtotal. Okay, so let's go in there. Now when you go to the cat service, we have to also create a method known as getCat. So on a cat service, you can see we have a method known as list of this cat model, and that is a get what cat. So we go for the definition in the cat service. Now in this getCat, so this add to cat, let's close this. Now this is getCat. Now with this getCat, we are going to get our list of cat. Now, so first of all, we create a variable, or we create a list. That's a cat model. Now we get the list from the product. So we get a list of product from the local storage of the client browser. Now when we store that, we check if it is not null, then we're going to loop through the cat, that's the product that the user has now added to cat. Then we call a service from the product service. So we have to inject the product service. We have to inject the product service here. Now we are calling get product. Now to get product, we pass an ID. So it's going to return us the full information about that product. Then we create a model here from the cat, single cat, because it is a list. So we create a single cat. Then we populate it. So this is the product ID to this product ID, quantity to this user quantity, and you can see we have name to the product name, image to image. This is the price to what. Now here's the price. We need to make some calculation. Now you can see the price. We have new price and we have original price. Now we are checking if the new price is not equal to 0 and it is lesser than the original price, then we are going to use the new price. Else we're going to use the original price. So if the new price is 10, the original price is 20. If it is greater than or less than 20, it means now the price is 20, but it has been reduced to the new price. So we pick the new price for the price. Now subtotal 2, we have to multiply the quantity that the user has now chosen by the price. So we do the same thing for the price here, multiply by the user quantity, we get a subtotal. When we are done, the list that we have created as cat model, we add this model to that list. That's all. So this is going to loop through the whole product or the whole items in the cat, in the person's, the client's browser's local storage, and now try to populate all the products here. So we have this. When you call this get cat, you're going to have all cat that has been added to, or product that has been added to cat, and that's what we have here. So this get cat going to give out all products that have been added to cat from the users or the client browser. So this service model, let's call it in the cat component. So this cat component, we inject the service model here. As you can see, inject Icard service as cat service, and we are going to loop it over here. So within the table body, we loop to the cat service model, and now to do that, you can see we also create a list of cat model. We call this get cat data, and that is this get cat data. So it's equal to cat service.get cat data or get cat. So it is going to get the cat or the data or the product that the user has added to cat. Now we display them here. So we look through and display the product image ID correspondingly to this. We see product image to image, ID to ID, name to name, they must match. And then the price, we convert it to double, so dot 2 decimal places. We pass in the dollar CD sign and so forth. Now we have a button here at the last end that is known as the action. So with this action button, we call two methods. The first one here, it is pencil, so edit. The next one is delete. So if it is edit, we navigate to a product, a component known as product detail. We pass in the ID. So that is a handle update. Now handle update, we navigate to the product detail. We pass in the ID. Now when this gets to the product detail, it's going API to get that product information. Now when I click on delete, we pass in product ID and product name. So here we're going to use confirm, so we're going to add the user. So as you can see, handle delete, we accept parameters, 2 parameters here, ID and name. So confirm, then we set, I usually want to delete this name, this product. If it's confirmed, we call the cat service, and then the method known as remove cat item. Then we get the cat data again. So this is going to be like, we're going to refresh. Okay, now this get cat or remove cat item, we have to create it in the cat service. So Icard service task remove cat item, it is accepting a product ID. So with the implementation, there's a cat service remove cat ID, and now we get a list of what cat from the local storage. We check if not equal to null, we try to find out the ID from that cat. In case it is found, we remove it, then we set the cat to the current one. When we are done, we go back to the cat razor component, and now here we call the get cat method to get the current cat. As soon as it is removed, it is going to be removed from the database, from the local storage, and the database or the cat service is going to pick the product from the local storage and run into an API to get the necessary information from them. So if that product is not found, it means it's going to skip that. That's what we do. Now when we run this, that's what we did to have all this. Okay, so now you can see that from here we have the cat button here. If I click on this, I come here. Now if I click on delete, I usually want this is the name, and if I click on OK, it gets the cat, call the API to get the list of cats again. Now let's see. So when I go to inspect element, let's see what we do. So there's the link. Now I'm going to add cat. So let me add a product here. So I have a product which has been, I want to add. So add product, add it here, and we see product has now been added. When you go to application, we have product added here, and that's the quantity. When you go to my cart here, you see we have this a product. Now let's say I want to delete this product. So click on delete, see what happens here. You will see it has removed from the cart. Now when it is removed, this should also get updated, isn't it? So let's see what we can do. Now let's go to the main layout. Now with the main layout, okay, so we don't want to get this page initialize value, so don't use this. Now here we are using cat get count, so we can now clear this off and we can use this. Let's save this, and now let's see what we can do. Alright, so let's see what we can do. Let's go in there and add a cat here. So let's add this product. So I want to add 4, and you can see product added, and I have 1. If I click here, let's see, so remove this, and the cat is now removed, but you can see we still have 1 here. So it means when I removed, I have to get the current count. Let's see that in the cat service. So that is our cat service here, and let's see what we can do. When the value or when product is removed, let's call this. Let's see. So when the product is removed, let's call this. Okay, so we want to good, so let's get the count of that product. So when it is removed here, let's get the count. So I'm going to do that here. Let's paste this here. So that is the count of the product. So we get this count here. Now we save this, and now let's wait for the refresh to be done and see what happens next. So here, once you have this, you see that here we have the method invoked. Now with the method invoked, it means you have to now subscribe to the method. Now in order to subscribe, you can see we inject what iDisposable, and now on down here, when the page initializes, we subscribe to the method. As soon as you use state has changed, it's going to refresh that component, and as you can see, So as soon as it gets refreshed, we want to unsubscribe, so we use plus to subscribe and minus to what, to unsubscribe. Okay, so now let's go in there and see again. Now we go to the home and let's add a product here. So let's add this product as 1. Product added, we have it as 1. Now let's remove this and see. So remove product. Now you see here it is 0. So that is it for this video. Okay, so now you know how to add product to cart, how to create an event whereby you're going to notify the user the number of items or the number of products added to cart already, and to display the cart to the user. So you can see from here there's nothing in the cart, but here there is a proceed to or checkout. The payment method is going to be a whole lot of video as well, so maybe for the next time we're going to talk about the checkout. And if you have any other feature that you want us to include, you can also put at the comment section. But actually this has given you a fair knowledge in how to create a Blazor component or a Blazor e-commerce site. Alright, so as I always say, e-commerce is broad and I don't think we can do everything. So what you want us to do, what you want us to add to this project, we can also give it say it under the description there or the comment section, and let's see what we can do to put that. Actually this is going to help you a lot in order to know some concepts to do the Blazor e-commerce. If you like what I'm doing, just give me a thumbs up, subscribe to, and I'll share. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to catch you up in the next project.